Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I am Dr. Iram Habib. Today I will be delivering a lecture on thalassemia syndromes. We will start our lecture with the scenario. A female of 10 months of age is presented with a progressive pallor, failure to thrive, and loose motion off and on for the last 3 months. There is a history of undocumented blood transfusions twice in the past 3 months at a local clinic. On examination, liver is 2 cm, spleen is 3 cm below costal margin. Her parents are first cousins. CBC show hemoglobin 6 grams per deciliter, MCV and MCH are very low. Platelet and TLC count are normal. Peripheral blood film shows microcytosis, hypochromia, target cells and nucleated RBCs. Questions: what is the diagnosis? How to investigate further? What advice should be given to the parents? Thalassemia syndromes are a heterogeneous group of inherited disorders of adult hemoglobin synthesis in which one or more of the globin chains are either absent or are produced at a reduced rate. Epidemiology. Thalassemia has a high prevalence in a belt extending from Mediterranean to Middle East, tropical Africa, Indian subcontinent and Asia. The prevalence rate of beta thalassemia in Pakistan remain undocumented for many years due to limited diagnostic facilities. However, many studies have been conducted now which shows a prevalence rate of around 5%. This 5% carrier rate means approximately 5,000 new births of beta thalassemia major takes place in Pakistan every year. The carrier rate in different ethnic groups of Pakistan are Punjabi 4.6%, Sindhi 4.3%, Pathan 5.3%, Balochi 8%, Urdu speaking 5.2%. The high prevalence rate in Balochis can be described on the basis of their low literacy rate and caste system. In embryonic and fetal period, fetal hemoglobin is dominant. Normal adult blood contains 3 types of hemoglobin. The major hemoglobin A with the molecular structure alpha 2 beta 2 is more dominant, comprising 95%, while minor hemoglobins are hemoglobin A2 and fetal hemoglobins, which form 2.5% and 1% of total hemoglobin content in a normal adult. The 2 alpha chains in hemoglobin A are encoded by an identical pair of alpha globin genes on chromosome 16, while the beta chains are encoded by a single beta globin gene on chromosome 11. In easy word, it means alpha globin chain synthesis is controlled by 4 alleles, while beta chain synthesis is controlled by 2 alleles. Classification. They may be classified on the basis of type of globin chains affected and clinical severity. Mostly they are classified into alpha thalassemia and beta thalassemia. We will be describing beta thalassemia today. Beta thalassemias are caused by mutations that diminish or stop the synthesis of beta globin chains. Pathogenesis. The causative mutation fall into 2 categories: beta naught mutations and beta plus mutation. Beta naught mutations, they are associated with absent beta globin chain synthesis, and beta plus mutations are associated with reduced but detectable beta globin chain synthesis. Sequencing of beta thalassemia gene has revealed more than 100 different causative mutations, mostly consisting of point mutations. Point mutations where a single nucleotide is either changed, inserted or deleted from the DNA. This picture is very important in understanding the pathogenesis. This region is called promoter sequence, this is called exon, and this is the intron. Exon is the coding sequence, intron is the non-coding sequence, and promoter sequence is the control center of a DNA. Splicing mutations. Splicing mutations are the commonest cause of beta plus thalassemia. In normal conditions, splicing usually occur at the end of the introns. And when the mutations they destroy the normal RNA splice junction, they completely prevent the production of normal beta globin messenger RNA, resulting in beta not thalassemia. Other creates ectopic supply site within an intron. Because the normal supply site remain intact, both normal and abnormal splicing occur, and some normal beta globin messenger RNA is made, resulting in beta plus thalassemia. In splicing phenomena, the introns are removed and exon, which are the coding sequence, they are joined together. Promoter region mutations. These mutations reduce the transcription by 75% to 80%. Some normal beta globin is synthesized, thus these mutations are associated with beta plus thalassemia. Chain terminator mutation. The commonest cause of beta not thalassemia. Two subtypes of mutation, they fall into this category. Most common will create a new stop codon within an exon. The other introduces frame shift mutations. These mutations will block translation and prevent the synthesis of any functional beta globin. Now we have seen the molecular pathogenesis, we will see its consequences, which include anemia, ineffective erythropoiesis, extravascular hemolysis, extramedullary erythropoiesis, cachexia, and secondary hemochromatosis. Anemia in beta thalassemia is due to two mechanisms: under hemoglobinized red blood cells, which will cause microcytic hypochromic blood picture, and reduced survival of red blood cells, which will cause hemolytic anemia. Ineffective erythropoiesis. In beta thalassemia, beta chain synthesis is reduced, so alpha chains are present in excess. These free alpha chains are very unstable and they aggregate to form insoluble inclusions in the erythroid precursors. Degradation and denaturation of free alpha chains produces alpha hemichromes and free iron that results in the formation of reactive oxygen species. The reactive oxygen species activate apoptotic pathway and cause ineffective erythropoiesis. Ineffective erythropoiesis means the erythroid precursors, they are generated in the bone marrow, but they are never able to get mature and enter into the circulation. They also cause hemolysis of red cells that enter the circulation. Extravascular hemolysis. Spleen traps the inclusion bearing red blood cells that enter the circulation, resulting in functional hyperplasia and hemolytic anemia. Extramedullary erythropoiesis. Erythropoiesis is a normal condition. It usually occurs in the medulla of the long bones. But in severe uncompensated anemia, erythropoietin is released from the kidneys, which will lead to the massive erythroid hyperplasia in the marrow and extensive extramedullary hematopoiesis. The expanding mass of red cell precursor erode the bony cortex, impairs bone growth, and produces skeletal abnormalities. Extramedullary hematopoiesis involves the liver, spleen, and lymph nodes, and in extreme cases produces extraosseous masses in the thorax, abdomen, and pelvis. When the erythropoiesis occurs in the cortex, it is called paraosseous, and when it occurs outside the bones, it is called extraosseous. Cachexia. Cachexia is a condition of weakening and wasting of the body in setting of long-standing chronic illness. The metabolically active erythroid progenitors steal nutrients from the other tissues that are already oxygen starved, causing severe cachexia in untreated patients. Hemochromatosis and hemosiderosis. Hemosiderosis is a simple accumulation of iron in the body, while hemochromatosis is damage to the parenchymal organs secondary to the iron overload. Excessive iron buildup occurs mainly due to suppression of hepcidin and iron overload of repeated blood transfusions. Hepcidin in normal conditions, it will inhibit the absorption of iron from the gut, but when the hepcidin is suppressed, more and more iron is absorbed from the gut, leading to iron buildup. These lead to severe iron accumulation unless preventive steps are taken. Secondary injury to parenchymal organs, particularly the liver, often follows and sometimes induces secondary hemochromatosis. Clinical syndrome. Clinical classification of beta thalassemia is based on the severity of anemia, which in turn depends on the genetic defect or gene dosage, homozygous or heterozygous. When both the alleles are similar, it is called homozygous, and when they are different, they are heterozygous. They are classified into beta thalassemia minor or trait, beta thalassemia intermedia, and beta thalassemia major. Beta thalassemia minor. Heterozygotes with one normal beta thalassemia, beta thalassemia gene and one normal gene usually have a mild asymptomatic microcytic anemia. This condition is referred to as beta thalassemia minor or beta thalassemia trait. These patients are usually asymptomatic. Beta thalassemia minor is much more common than other variants. If the patients with the beta thalassemia minor, then why it is important to diagnose them? Because beta thalassemia minor and iron deficiency anemia, they resemble both clinically and on peripheral blood picture. So patients with the beta thalassemia minor, they can be misdiagnosed with iron deficiency anemia and they are not able to get proper treatment. It has an implication for genetic counseling. Diagnosis. We have a list of investigations to diagnose beta thalassemia minor. We will discuss them one by one, starting from basic to more advanced. CBC. It will show anemia, mild anemia of around 9 to 10 grams per deciliter with microcytic hypochromic blood picture. RBC morphology. It will show some red cell abnormalities including hypochromia, microcytosis, basophilic stippling, and target cells. Bone marrow examination will show mild erythroid hyperplasia. Hemoglobin electrophoresis. It is a gold standard technique for the diagnosis of beta thalassemia. It will reveal an increase in hemoglobin A2 to 4 to 8% of total hemoglobin, which is a reflection of elevated ratio of sigma chains to beta chain synthesis. It means that beta chain synthesis is suppressed, so sigma chains, they are produced in excess to compensate. Fetal hemoglobin levels are generally normal or occasionally slightly raised. Serum iron, total iron binding capacity, and serum ferritin levels are advised along with to rule out iron deficiency anemia. The increase in hemoglobin A2 is diagnostically useful, particularly in individuals who are at the risk of both beta thalassemia trait and iron deficiency, such as women of childbearing age. It is advisable to investigate for both iron deficiency anemia and beta thalassemia minor in suspected patients because these two conditions, they can coexist. Beta thalassemia intermedia. Genetically heterogeneous variant of moderate severity is called beta thalassemia intermedia. Some patients have two defective beta globin genes and an alpha thalassemia gene defect, which improves the effectiveness of erythropoiesis and red cell survival by lessening the imbalance in alpha and beta chain synthesis. In other rare cases, individuals have a single beta globin defect and one or two extra copies of normal alpha globin genes, which worsen the chain imbalance. These unusual forms of disease serve to emphasize the cardinal role of unpaired alpha globin chains in pathology. Beta thalassemia major. In general, individuals with two beta thalassemia alleles have a severe transfusion dependent anemia called beta thalassemia major. These individuals, they can be homozygous for beta plus mutation or beta naught mutations or heterozygous for beta plus mutations. These anemias, they manifest around 6 to 9 months after birth as hemoglobin synthesis switches from fetal hemoglobin to adult hemoglobin. From embryonic period to 6 to 9 months after birth, the dominant hemoglobin is fetal hemoglobin, which is synthesized perfectly. So these patients, they remain asymptomatic. But after 6 to 9 months, when it starts switching to adult hemoglobin, in which beta globin chain synthesis is impaired, the patient becomes symptomatic. The red cell may completely lack hemoglobin A or contain small amounts. Clinical presentation. The clinical course of beta thalassemia major is brief unless blood transfusions are given. Both phagocyte hyperplasia and extramedullary hematopoiesis contribute to the enlargement of the spleen, which can weigh as much as 1500 grams. The liver and lymph nodes can also be enlarged by extramedullary hematopoiesis. This extramedullary hematopoiesis is responsible for causing visceromegaly and lymph node enlargement. In those who survive long enough, the cheekbone and other bony prominences are enlarged and distorted due to striking expansion of hematopoietically active marrow. In the bones of face and skull, the burgeoning marrow erodes existing cortical bone and induces new bone formation, giving rise to a crew-cut appearance on X-ray studies. Burgeoning marrow means hyperactive marrow or rapidly growing marrow, and crew cut, it is a hairstyle in which hair are cut very small and the direction of hair is perpendicular to the skull. This is a picture of a child with beta thalassemia major. As it can be seen from distance, his skull bones are prominent. This picture is uploaded after with the permission of father. This is a crew-cut appearance of skull on the X-ray. This is a new bony spikes, and this is the normal skull. These are perpendicular and it gives a crew-cut appearance. Clinical presentation. Although blood transfusion improve the anemia and suppress complication related to excess erythropoiesis, they lead to complication of their own: hemosiderosis and secondary hemochromatosis, which damages heart, liver and pancreas. Diagnosis. In untransfused patients, hemoglobin levels are 3 to 6 grams per deciliter. RBC morphology. Blood smear shows rare red cell abnormalities, anisocytosis, poikilocytosis, microcytosis, hypochromia, target cells, basophilic stippling, and fragmented red blood cells are also common. Anisocytosis mean variation in the sizes, and poikilocytosis mean variation in the shapes. Variable number of poorly hemoglobinized nucleated red blood cells precursor are seen in the peripheral blood as a result of stress erythropoiesis and abnormal release from the site of extramedullary hematopoiesis. The nucleated RBC, when they appear in the peripheral blood, it is never normal. If you see a nucleated red blood cells in the peripheral film, you should investigate further. This is a picture of beta thalassemia major patient. This is a hypochromic cell. This is a microcytic cell. This is a NRBCs, which is a nucleated RBCs. Reticulocyte count is elevated, but it is lower than expected for the severity of anemia because of ineffective erythropoiesis. Hemoglobin electrophoresis. The major red cell hemoglobin is fetal hemoglobin, which is markedly elevated. Hemoglobin A2 levels are sometimes high, but more often they are normal or low. We have read before the HbA2 levels, they will be increased in beta thalassemia trait, while fetal hemoglobin levels, they will be increased in beta thalassemia major. Treatment. With transfusion and iron chelation, survival into third decade is possible, but the overall outlook remains guarded. Hematopoietic stem cell transplantation is the only therapy offering cure and is being used increasingly. Prenatal diagnosis is possible by molecular analysis of DNA. Our lecture is completed here. These are the answer to the scenario I presented earlier. That 10 months old female, she is having beta thalassemia major, and how to investigate her, I have just shared the slides with you. What advice should be given to the parents? They should be counseled to use prenatal diagnosis in all subsequent pregnancies. They should also be advised to have extended family screening, which means that the sibling of parents and sibling of the child, they should be investigated. Thank you.